Yo, what's up, guys? I'm going to be doing a breakdown of predictions video here for this 1/166 card, De Ridder versus Malykhin 2, which is going to be going down tomorrow. So if you're interested in this one card, I do got three bets. One is parlayed with another fighter on Octagon MMA, but three bets on 1/166. So go to patreon.com/MMAPredictionGuru. Check that out. We've been doing really well with our bets this year. Hit the like button on this video. Put a comment down below. Share. Let's try to get this video out to as many people as possible. But let's get into these fights. The first fight of the night, I'm going to go from the main event to the first fight, and I'm only going to be breaking down the MMA fights. So the main event of the evening, it's Anatoly Malykhin. He's taking on Reinier de Ridder, and the theme of the night with the title fights, the three title fights on the main event, is they're all rematches. So these two guys did fight before. There's a twist on this fight where the first fight was at heavyweight for Anatoly Malykhin's heavyweight title, and Malykhin was able to go in there and get the victory over Reinier de Ridder, retain his belt via first round knockout. So now in this fight, they're going to be competing for Reinier de Ridder's light heavyweight title. So Anatoly Malykhin has made the drop down to 205. He successfully made weight, and I don't know if he's going to have a crazy cut. He isn't a huge heavyweight, but this is going to be the first time that he's gone down to 205 in a while, and we'll see if he can become a two-division champion. And obviously for Reinier de Ridder, he hasn't fought since that fight. So he hasn't fought since December of 2022. Malykhin went back, fought Arjan Bhullar, defended his belt. So he's fought a little bit more recently. He fought 8 months ago, whereas de Ridder hasn't fought in almost a year and a half. But he was previously unbeaten at 15-0. He had finished 5 of his 7 win championship fights. He was 4-0 in title fights. So in this division, he's the man, and we're going to see if he's going to be able to hand Anatoly Malykhin that first L like Anatoly Malykhin was able to hand to him. But it's a tough fight, man. I mean, I think that de Ridder, you look at the first fight, he didn't have a lot of success. I mean, Malykhin to me is a different beast. He's a much more powerful fighter. The first fight, Ridder was not even close on his takedown attempts. And if guys like Amir Aliakbari, Arjan Bhullar, credentialed wrestlers that are bigger than de Ridder can't get Malykhin down, I just don't see how Ridder will be able to do it. As far as the stand-up goes, Malykhin brings big power, good pressure boxing style, and he ate some jabs from Ridder, but had no problems getting inside. And when he connected, de Ridder just couldn't handle the power at all. He rocked de Ridder a multitude of times, Malykhin, and eventually Malykhin knocked him out late in the first round. So if this fight gets to the ground somehow, maybe de Ridder can pull a rabbit out of the hat, but I just don't see it. Even in Malykhin's last fight, he was forced to go into round 3, and you would maybe think he could slow down. That could be a potential thing his opponents could take advantage of because he had a lot of quicker fights. But no, he ended up finishing in the third round. He still is fresh. So ultimately, I think unless Malykhin is massively affected by the weight cut, which I don't see happening because he's not a big heavyweight, he's around 225, that he's going to win by early knockout again. I just don't think de Ridder has the power on the feet or the striking acumen to stop Malykhin from getting inside and landing on him. And I don't think that he has the ability to get it to the ground. So when you put those two things together and you combine the power and pressure of Malykhin, I just think it's going to be a bad night for de Ridder again, and I think he's going to get knocked out. One thing about de Ridder is if he can get it to the ground, the guy's a beast on the mat. He's definitely going to have a submission chance, but I just don't think he's going to be able to get it there like he didn't get it there in the first fight. And I see Malykhin keeping his undefeated record, moving to 14-0, and I think that he's going to hand de Ridder his second loss in a row here. And moving on the card, we got Tang. He's taking on Tang. And like I said about the other fights, this is also another rematch. And this fight is an interesting fight. I mean, the first fight was pretty fun to watch. I really like both these guys' styles, striking fight, so it should be entertaining. Tang, he's coming off a knee injury, so he's looking to make it clear who the best in the division is. He took the belt from Tan Lee in his last fight, which was August 26, 2022, and now he's taking him on again here and trying to reestablish himself back in the division, get back in the groove of things. And he hasn't lost a fight since 2017, so Tang's been on a roll. And even though he's coming off an injury, a layoff, he's 28 years old, he's in his prime, 10 years younger than Tan Lee. So hopefully he's going to come back strong. Tan Lee is a fighter who, for the longest time, was kind of chasing that UFC dream. He competed on the Ultimate Fighter show in 2015, went 1-1, then went on to win on the Contender Series. He won the LFA 145-pound title. And you would think that would have been enough to get him into the UFC, but never got the call. Ended up losing the LFA title via brutal knockout, signed with ONE after that, and he was able to finally shine on that big stage he deserved with ONE championship. He ran off 5 knockout wins in a row. He won the title, and then lost the title to Tang in the aforementioned 2022 fight. But Lee has came back. He fought one time in 2023, won quickly via heel hook in 1:02, so looked good in that one. At 38 years old, this is likely his final opportunity at gold, so he has to make the most of it. And the first fight, it was all stand-up pretty much. Kai Tang was just a slight step ahead. He was able to get off early with leg kicks, and he hindered Tan Lee's movement in the beginning of the fight. And Tang was also doing a good job of being patient. He was letting Lee come to him because Lee didn't have a lot of success at distance with kicks, and Tang was able to land nice counters. He landed the check hook pretty frequently throughout the fight. Landed some right hands too. And he was good at landing and then getting back to range and out the danger zone. He didn't let Tan Lee be in the pocket where he has those dangerous hooks. And Lee was able to land some power hook counters. He even dropped Kai Tang at one point. He was really looking to land that left hook early and often, but just never really connected enough. And he was definitely, I think, bothered by the low kicks, so he wasn't able to cut the cage off like he probably wanted to and get into as many exchanges as he wanted. But Tang even dropped Lee a couple times, and I feel like there's not going to be a lot of wrestling in this fight. So for Tan Lee, if he wants to win this fight, he's going to have to address the leg kicks early. He's going to have to check those kicks, get Tang to not want to throw them. And if he can do that, then he could have a chance to cut the cage off, get in more exchanges where his power could win him the fight. And if he can get to the fight to the ground, you know that his jiu-jitsu is dangerous. Training with Ryan Hall, his last fight he got that heel hook. But I don't think Tang is going to wrestle, and I just don't think Tan Lee has the ability to probably get it to the ground. And for Kai Tang, I think the game plan should be the exact same. Get on the calf kicks early, make Lee less dangerous, and then be sharp, patient, pick him apart with counters, and either win a decision or finish him down the stretch. But Tang should probably win this fight because he's the better fighter. He's the younger guy, and he already won the first time. Lee has a chance for the knockout in any fight he's in, but my prediction is going to be Kai Tang goes out there and wins another decision in this fight. And continuing on through the card, Jared Brooks, he's going to be fighting Joshua Pacio here. And this fight, flyweight fight, or actually 115 pounds maybe. I think it's 125. But Brooks, he's making his return to competition. He hasn't fought in over a year. Last fought in December 3rd, 2022. And I think he had a couple injuries. And he came back in August of last year, and he had a grappling match against Mikey Musumeci, but he lost that. And then now he's trying to get back into the MMA group of things. But he's one of the best fighters currently not in the UFC. And in a group of a select few who could say they have a claim to being better than the UFC champion in their weight class. Brooks is 20-2, and his 2 losses are both a little bit controversial. I mean, his fight with Davison Figueiredo, who went on to become UFC champion and probably is regarded as an all-time great at flyweight by most. Their fight, he lost a controversial split decision, and it seemed like almost everyone thought that Brooks deserved to win that fight at the time. Then in Brooks' fight with Jose Shorty Torres, Brooks was dominating the fight and went for a slam and knocked himself out. So that was just kind of on him there. Since getting cut from the UFC, he's gone 7-0. He's the one champion. And this fight's a grudge match. I mean, these guys have been talking a little bit, and it's a rematch from Brooks' last fight. Josh Pacio, he bounced back from the loss to Brooks with a win over an undefeated 11-0 Russian fighter last October. But he's only had that one fight since their last fight. And since 2020, he's only fought once a year. So Pacio hasn't been that active, but neither is Brooks. Both these guys, they're not that old. I mean, 28 years old for Pacio, 30 years old for Brooks. So they're still relatively in their primes. And the first thing about the matchup between these two is Jared Brooks looks like he has a lot of weight on Pacio. He's bigger, in my opinion, thicker. Height-wise, they're similar, but just Brooks is a lot bigger muscularly, I feel like. And Brooks pretty much dominated the first fight. He's super explosive. He throws big punches. He can close the distance really fast, and his speed is phenomenal, man. And then he has top-notch wrestling. And you'll mainly just stay all the way on the outside, move around, use his speed, evasiveness, close the gap, either throw a hand combination, throw a kick, or level change. Really fast head kicks. And Pacio was actually able to defend takedowns and keep the fight standing for a good portion of the fight. But Brooks held his own on the feet, and he was faster and more active. He actually landed the cleaner shots. And once Brooks gets on top, though, and he did get on top a couple times in this fight, he's like glue. He's extremely hard to get up from under. If you give him your back, he has good rear naked choke ability and pretty good ground and pound. He also has elite cardio. So a majority of the time when Brooks finishes guys, it's due to his opponents giving their back and looking for a way out after they got roughed up and got tired by Brooks. And the reason why Brooks won the first fight mostly was due to his movement. He was constantly moving side to side. He was able to use his speed to get in, get out, not get hit very often. He landed much more himself. And I just don't see many ways he loses this fight outside of having lost a step during the layoff. For Pacio, he's shown a knockout power, so that is something that he is going to have, but just a lot more flat-footed, and he just struggled to get off. I think he was worried about the takedown, and then on top of that, he just didn't have the speed. If he can connect clean on Brooks with some power, he could hurt him and take him out of there, but I think that's very unlikely. I feel like Brooks is probably going to dominate here. Pacio has had some success where he was able to defeat guys in rematches that he had lost to previously, but I feel like Brooks is that guy. I feel like Brooks is one of the best in the world for these lower weight classes. His style is really, really good, like higher level version of Tim Elliott, way higher level version maybe. But yeah, I just feel like Jared Brooks is a beast, man. The guy's going to probably be able to go out there and do his thing, get the job done, and win this one on points probably. So I'm going to go with Jared Brooks here to get the victory in this rematch against Joshua Pacio. And we're going to be continuing on through the card here. The next fight that we have on the MMA portion of this card is Arjan Bhullar. He's going to be taking on Amir Aliakbari. This is going to be a heavyweight fight, and the winner of this fight is probably going to be fighting for the title next. Obviously, they got the heavyweight champion fighting in the main event here, and two of the top heavyweights at one. Bhullar, he came over from the UFC. He was able to capture the one heavyweight title. He beat Brandon Vera in his second one championship fight. Suffered some injuries. He was plagued by inactivity after winning the belt and didn't compete for over 2 years before he came back in 2023. Champion versus interim champion fight against Anatoly Malykhin. And unfortunately for him, he ended up getting finished in the third round. He lost his belt. And his opponent, Amir Aliakbari, he's a fighter who entered one with height, but he lost his first 2 fights with the promotion. And since then, he's been able to rebound. He's won 3 fights in a row. And now, like I said, the winner of this fight's likely going to be in good position to challenge for the title in their next fight. But you look at both these guys stylistically, they're both wrestlers. Amir Aliakbari, he's a juicehead wrestler. He was an Olympic hopeful for Iran, 2-time world champion, but he got barred from the 2012 Olympics due to PED use, and then ultimately in 2013 he got banned for life by FILA, which kind of ended his wrestling career. And he's been fighting MMA since 2015, 13-3, and predominantly uses wrestling, but super big, powerful guy, and if he connects with big punches, he can hurt you. He's gotten a little bit less stiff. His jab is a little better. I've seen him throw some 1-1-2s and some jab overhands, but still a very poor striker, lacks composure, heavy on his lead leg so you can leg kick him. And as fights go on, he gets really tired and just becomes super hittable. But mainly what he wants to do is he has a fast single leg and he has really good body lock takedowns, obviously being a Greco guy. And once he gets on top, he's vicious with ground and pound. He likes to get to the crucifix position. He can probably finish most heavyweights outside the UFC if he gets on top of them. But like I said, cardio for him has been an issue, and that could play a factor if this fight gets a little bit longer. And I also think that plays a factor in the reasons why, if you've seen a couple fights where Aliakbari went for takedowns, he got stuffed, and he doesn't really wrestle anymore after that, or wrestle that heavily in fights, because I think he's worried about getting tired. But when he does get it to the ground, the guy's a handful. And Arjan Bhullar, he also has a great amateur wrestling pedigree. Grew up in Canada, went on to become a two-time NAIA college wrestling champion. He represented Canada's national team. He earned a bronze at the Pan American Games. He competed at the Olympics in 2012. His MMA career, he's gone 11-2, and he's probably going to look to pressure, use his jab, try to counter-strike, and extend the fight. And he has good feints. He probably has the hand speed advantage. He has a good counter uppercut. Good job using his hands to kind of reach out, hand fight, then throw shots over the top. And pretty basic. He doesn't really kick. He's not super powerful or athletic. But his head movement has gotten a lot better. He has good composure. He showed a decent chin his last fight. And I think if he can get this fight into the later rounds, he's going to be the crisper boxer, more composed striker, and be able to be effective on the feet. And obviously, he's a high-level wrestler, so it's going to be interesting to see if either man is going to be able to get their wrestling going. I personally think that Aliakbari is the better wrestler. He's bigger, he relies on it more, but that's not to say he could take down someone with the pedigree of Bhullar. I've never seen anyone straight up take Bhullar down. I mean, after landing some damaging strikes on the feet, he got kind of snapped down from the front headlock position in his last fight and ended up being finished. He didn't look good off his back, but I feel like it's going to be pretty tough to just get him down for Aliakbari unless he hurts him first. So I feel like it's maybe going to play out more on the feet. I do think that Bhullar's probably not going to try to get takedowns, and if he does, it may be just more to try to tax Aliakbari and get him tired, maybe not even a full commitment to getting it to the ground. And I feel like Arjan isn't as vicious as he gets on top. If Aliakbari gets on top, he can finish. If Arjan gets on top, it probably will not be as dangerous for Aliakbari. But I feel like Bhullar's the better striking, and the wrestling should be a wash between these two. Bhullar can pressure, avoid getting hit with the early shot, get his jab going, find the distance, find the range. Then I think he should have the better boxing and start to take over. He doesn't have crazy power, but I think if he can get Aliakbari tired, he can get him out of there. So I'm going to say that Arjan Bhullar wins this fight via late second round KO TKO here. And the final fight we're going to talk about on this card, Kito Yamakita, he's taking on Jeremy Miado. And with this fight, we got one guy that's a jiu-jitsu guy, another guy that's a Muay Thai striker, so it's a clash of styles. But Miado, very good striker. The majority of his wins have been via knockout, accurate punches, good hand speed. He's tall and long for the division. He comes forward, he throws straight punches down the middle. He likes to slide back, look to counter with the check hook. Sometimes he'll throw some leg kicks or some jabs to the body, but he's primarily a headhunter. His last fight, he did get caught with a lead hook and got knocked down a couple times. So more explosive guys that can close that distance fast have given him some issues. But in this fight, I feel like he's going to be the significantly better striker. Super tough. He likes to scrap. Great cardio. And he's not a great grappler. In his loss to Mansur Malykhin, he was taken down in Darst. His takedown defense isn't bad, but it's kind of just average, and he needs to keep getting better with that. For now, he's good for fun striking fights, but this fight, he's going to have to show that he can keep it on the feet. But Kito Yamakita, short, compact fighter. He's that kind of usual Japanese style you see from the lower weight classes. Speedy, moves around a lot, feints, and then tries to close the gap and get in, get out quickly with some punch combinations, and then look for the takedown. He has pretty good jiu-jitsu. Seems like he goes for submissions, and I think he'll have an advantage on the ground. But Jeremy Miado is probably going to be significantly better on the feet. And from what I've seen, I wasn't ultra impressed with Yamakita. He's strong. He's explosive. He's probably the better wrestler. But I think that Miado likely wins this one via knockout or decision. It's kind of difficult for me to be super confident just because I feel like Miado, if he gets taken down, he'll be in danger. but I think he could probably win this fight at distance. He's going to be the much bigger guy, and I think he can beat up Yamakita on the feet and win this fight in that manner. So that's why I'm going to go with Miado as my prediction for that fight as the underdog. So there you have it. That's my five predictions for this 166 MMA portion of this card. So everyone that's going to be watching one, hopefully you enjoyed this breakdown predictions video. Comment down below and tell me, do you agree with my picks? Do you disagree? If you want access to those bets, go to patreon.com/MPredictionGuru. And I'm going to be back giving you guys another video shortly. So stay locked into the channel, and I'll see you guys soon.